All right, guys, happy, what are we in, April? Day like 7,000 of our stay in place order. I hope everyone is doing well tonight. I'm super excited for our team call tonight, and many of you were on the Desalination call last night and may have already heard from Nicole, but I reached out to her and I said, you're killing it. And you were the first person I thought of when we needed a guest speaker to talk about recruiting. And she, without hesitation, said she was up for it. And I don't want to waste any of your guys' time. I want her to give you all the goods, but I do have to do a couple quick shout outs. So since the first of the month, we've added over 40 new coaches to our team, which means you guys are just on fire. And I'm super pumped about that. There are so many of you on the board. Katrina obviously is already locked in Success Club for the month. Last month, I think she ended at like 20, Success Club 28 between her and Brad's account. Maddie's already at Success Club 24. Like, it's insane. I'm super, super proud of you guys. We do have the virtual retreat that you can still qualify for. If you need to know the qualifications for that, please check the team page. We also have Super Weekend coming up. So get your coaches informed, tag them, remind them, post a watch party. There's going to be a lot of really, at the end, she is a mama, just like most of us, is a premier coach. She's currently ranked number 38 in the whole company. So that's out of almost 400,000 coaches, guys. Like, obviously, if themselves, that would be awesome. Cassie, can you mute yourself, babe? Let me see if I can hear. Okay, fixed it. So clearly what her and her team are doing is working. So she's just going to pour out. I hope you guys have your pens and notebooks ready and are ready to take all the notes, because when people invest this time into us, especially when it's bedtime in their house, we want to listen. All right, Nicole, take over.
Oh, well, thank you. You can maybe hear my kids screaming, so I don't mind missing out on bedtime. But thank you so much, and I'm super excited to be here, and thanks for asking me to speak. And it still feels, I mean, to be honest, really weird I'm trying to work on my own limiting beliefs with imposter syndrome and being ranked 38, because it just feels kind of surreal. But I mean, I've been coaching almost 4 years now, and to go way back in my story, I actually got started with Beachbody when I did P90X in 2011. So it was a long time ago when I wasn't a coach then. And my husband and I decided, with my boyfriend at the time, we decided to go all in. And I had been the notorious yo-yo dieter. My mom, I grew up with a single mom, and we lived together. She worked full time, and we just ate a lot of comfort food. And I struggled with my weight starting in middle school, and then through high school, and in college ended up just finally figuring out how to lose weight, but not in a healthy way, and just kind of yo-yoed and went through a lot of really bad eating habits all through my 20s, and tried all the crazy diets, the master cleanse, and crazy one where I had to pair like bacon with cottage cheese at one meal, and like it was just crazy. So I was the notorious diet starts Monday person. So when we did P90X, my friend had done it first, so that was kind of just a testament of how this all works, right? It was you see someone else do it, and we decided to go all in. So my boyfriend at the time and we did P90X in our tiny apartment. We bought all the equipment. We bought P90X off Craigslist, so didn't even buy it from a coach. And we followed the nutrition plan, which I think was probably the biggest mindset shift, because I always liked working out, and I had run like 2 half marathons at this point. So I was interested in running, but I just couldn't seem to get in the shape that I always wanted to be. And when I did P90X, it was just this complete transformation where people were like, what even happened to you? Like, what? I just went all in. And I lost, it was only 11 pounds, but it was a dramatic change in my body composition from like just someone, I guess, fairly average to like, I looked freaking amazing, to be honest. I was like, just like this transformation in my confidence and excitement. And I kind of just became just super into fitness from doing that program. And actually I'm on the P90X infomercial from like 2011. So you might ever see me. I don't even know if they run those infomercials anymore, but I actually just after that got really into running. So I went on to train I've run 7 marathons. I've done an Ironman. I've done like a lot of I've done triathlons. I've stopped doing that now, but I'm just a big runner. So all this meanwhile, I actually started a blog back when I was doing P90X. And I talked a lot about P90X and I talked about running. And I just love writing. It's just something that I've always been into. So I just kept it up because partially I was bored at my job. I was an accountant and I could blog at work and talk about my fitness and share. And I just got enveloped in this community of runners online. And so I was kind of organically sharing that. I never understood how social media worked in the sense of like how to grow or anything. I was just very organic and like connecting with people, reading other people's blogs and all of that. So when I had my daughter in 2015, I gained quite a bit of weight. And, you know, after I had her, I was like, I don't want to go to my workout classes anymore. It's too much time. So I got, you know, the story, got hooked on 21 Day Fix and actually did P90X first. And then went back to then discovered 21 Day Fix and was just shocked by how amazing the workouts are for 30 freaking minutes. It's such a good workout. And so I lost the baby weight doing that. And I started again sharing. And I decided, you know what, I'm just going to share this with other people. I had taken an extended maternity leave. I just didn't want to leave my baby. So I ended up taking a 6-month leave. So it was 3 months unpaid. And I was like, you know what, I might as well just earn some extra income sharing it with others. I'm the person that didn't do any research at all. I didn't ask any questions. I just signed up. Luckily my coach Kelly my coach was named Allison, one of my good friends, was under my coach Kelly Burnham, who you guys might know. And luckily Kelly was the persistent one in Allison's ear saying, you gotta get Nicole to sign up. You gotta get Nicole to sign up. So it was like, even though my coach like lucked out by recruiting me, it was really Kelly being the persistent one. So just already proof that like, you see someone who's sharing, gotta invite them to join. So when I first started coaching, I was working full-time back in accounting. I was commuting, we were doing daycare. My husband and I were both working full-time, and we look back and we're like, it was the worst 5 months ever. I just really didn't like being back at work. I never liked accounting. And when I really got into fitness back when I did P90X, I thought, you know, I'd researched like how to become a personal trainer, how to make money online with fitness. And I tried to like do some like, you know, influencer type things with my blog where I'd make like $100 selling, you know, like, you know, wearing something and reviewing it. But really it just didn't make sense. I was making great income as in finance. But once I had my daughter and I was like, I don't want to be away from her anymore. And we didn't think that I could stay home because we couldn't make it on we didn't think we could make it on my husband's income. But we ended up making the tough decision to just kind of make the financial sacrifice. I was starting to make some money with Beachbody and I was able to get just like a little part-time gig. So I started coaching. And like I said, this is one of my, the things that I share with you about the fact that I did have this blog and I did have the, like what everyone calls attraction marketing from the get-go. And I think maybe sometimes you start as a coach and you're like, oh, I gotta like attract all these people and I'm just gonna post on social media and they're gonna come to me. And that actually did happen to me in the beginning in the sense that I showed up on social media and people did come to me because they already knew me as someone in fitness. They already knew me as a blogger. I'm not saying like huge numbers. I always hit Success Club. And that actually like kind of hurt me in the beginning in the sense that I didn't really understand that you had to do invites and that you had to like be out connecting as much. And I was just kind of organically doing that stuff. And when I did bring on a handful of working coaches through people who just fell in love with the programs in my challenge group, I wasn't able to really mentor them because I didn't understand how it worked. And I was like, they're posting on social media. Why isn't anyone joining them? So I really struggled in the early days of first just the belief in coaching and what the opportunity had to offer. I was like very into the fitness, but I had this like in the back of my mind, just kind of like, I don't know, like hiding that I was a coach, and a little bit, I don't know, not embarrassed by any means, but I wasn't going into like a party and being like, I'm a, Beachbody coach, I'm a fitness coach, the way that I am now, where I'm just like so excited to talk about it. I was just more reserved with it. And I know actually that held me back from recruiting for so long, that I was just in my little bubble of like, I'm just going to sell challenge packs. I'm going to like start hitting Success Club 10. And I feel really cool because I'm at least hitting that, but I really couldn't, the recruiting piece just, it wasn't clicking for me at all. And I remember going to Summit and just being like, my first Summit, I was like a year in, and just being kind of like excited and like, why am I not like, I want to be recognized, I want to be diamond. I was an emerald coach, and just sitting up in the nosebleeds and being like, I just don't, like, I was very impatient. Like, why am I not getting there? But I didn't want to, like, I didn't have the, like, I didn't look back at myself and say like, why not, like dig into myself. I was just kind of looking at like external factors. Why isn't this happening for me already? But the good news is I was very consistent and very patient, and I kept going, even when I had those doubts. And I remember setting like, okay, if I don't have this many coaches by this date, then like, I'm over it. Or I just had all these like, I was a roller coaster in the early days. And I, it was really, I remember at that summit them saying, all these people all in. I was like, what is this decision that everyone's saying? Like, you just snap your fingers and it's just a decision that you go all in. But in the end, it really was a decision for me. So when I was 7 months pregnant with twins, we found out we were having twins. After, like I said, we had made this big financial sacrifice for me to stay home, and like my coaching business was making okay income, but not like replacing my six-figure finance salary. I found out I was pregnant with twins. And then when I was 7 months pregnant with twins, my husband got laid off from his job. So we were kind of like panic mode, like what the heck are we going to do? And we had just bought a house, our first house, and pretty much taken all of our money and put that into that. And so we were like pretty much scrambling. And I was, like I said, 7 months pregnant with the twins. So I was like, I don't know what we're going to do, but 80-Day Obsession was coming out, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to talk about how 80-Day Obsession can combine with running and just add value where I can, even though I can't even do the program. And I kind of just, like they said, made a decision. I made a decision that this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go for it. If anyone can do it, then I can do it. And I really dove into personal development, and I really focused on how I can just share, how I can add value to my niche, which is runners. And that's when I kind of took the turn from like, I'm a hobby coach to I'm a business owner. I need to analyze like, what are the people that I'm talking to asking me for? What do they need? What do they want from me? And that shift kind of happened. And then a few months later, I joined a group called Fearless Recruiting that was put on by top coaches in the network. And I think I had to qualify for it in some way, but I listened to every single training in that thing. It was all the top coaches, and they told me like all their secrets basically. And you just kind of realize that there are no secrets, but it was just hearing it from them and seeing like, these are normal people and they have had so much success. That group was a huge turning point for me. I went to Fearless Recruiting. I remember there's a challenge. You had to invite 50 people to coaching. That was more than I invited the entire year to coaching. And I did it in that 1 week. There was like a week-long challenge. And it was just this breakthrough of like, now I see what coaching is doing for me, and why wouldn't I share it with other people? And it started, you just have to get past the idea that your past and like what you've done in the past dictates what you're going to do in the future. And I know for me, what held me back so much was like, I just had this thing in my head, like, why would someone want to join me unless I'm making a good amount of money? Why would someone want to do this unless they were making like a full-time income? But then I had to realize like I was making a good side income. Like, there's plenty of people out there who would want that, or there's plenty of people who want accountability, or plenty of people who want to be in the best shape of their life, or all these other reasons that people come to coaching. And once I realized that, especially once I had a coach who came on who just fell in love, and she was making almost nothing, but she was just so excited to be there. And she was just like, this had changed her life. And I think hearing her tell me that this was changing her life and realizing it wasn't tied exactly to the income, that I kind of had this shift, like, this is valuable. Why am I not sharing coaching more? And so I just had that shift after that group, like, got to share coaching more, got to talk about it all the time, got to share where I'm going, got to share the journey, because no one wants to see the person at the end. They're not attracted to, like, that's why movies are, they don't just pan to the end of the person at the top of Everest, right? They are the story of how the person got there. So your journey, no matter where you are, from the beginning of your fitness journey, from the beginning of your like recruiting and building a team, you want to share the whole thing. Talk about where you're going. Talk about the team you want to create. Talk about all going. And I know it's scary to say this is it, and then like you're afraid to fail, but people are drawn to that, and people are drawn to go-getters. People are drawn to people who are positive and have excitement and want to go somewhere. And if you're sharing that, then people are like, I'm on board. I want to do this. I want to do it. Barely able to get one working coach to join me, to having people coming to me. And I'm not saying it's easy and they're just like flooding to me. I do a ton of connecting. I do a ton of inviting to coaching. I do share about it all the time. But it becomes like, for those that are like, oh my gosh, I can't even, like, I remember being in like an accountability call with my accountability partner, and we would just be like, how do we even get one emerald? I just don't even know, because we weren't diamond yet. And we're like, I just can't even imagine getting one working coach. And we're like, how do these people find these people? And just know that with faith and with effort and with time and with consistency, they do come, they do. But they're not going to come unless you put yourself out there and you get a little bit brave. I just went on a really long tangent because I did actually create a presentation. So let me pull it up. So I actually did this presentation for someone last week, and I thought it would also, after talking to Melissa, be helpful for you guys, because so like after I did that Fearless Recruiting group, I basically like had this thing. I just had this idea that I was like, you know what, I'm a diamond coach and I want to be elite next year. So from diamond to 5-star, I was like, I can do it. I'm starting to get working coaches. I know we can do this. And you're in these big groups with these top coaches, and they're telling you how like anyone gets to diamond in 60 days. So I was like, well, if people can get to diamond in 60 days, I can get to elite in a year. So on January 1st of last year, I wrote on my calendar on Monday, I said, start job as elite Beachbody coach. And I put backup plan was premier or 2-star. And then like my plan C was like, I'm at least getting to the new leader conference. So 1-star. This is my coaching story. So one thing that clicked for me in that Fearless Recruiting group that was huge, like I said, I am driven by income. So for me, income is a part of my driving factor. It's part of my story. And 2-star is where it's at, you guys. So if you're not there yet, I highly recommend it being like a very serious goal. Diamond is like the start of building a business, and 2-star is where things really take off in terms of income, especially. So when you're 2-star, you start getting a quarterly bonus, which is about 800 to 1,000 a quarter, I think, or in that range. You also get to open your second business center, which is huge. So for me, for example, I placed my husband on, I don't have a strong leg. Like I said, my coach quit. So I got put on, I'm on Kelly's inside leg. So I have literally no one creating any volume for me, which is a limiting belief. I also had that I couldn't be successful because I was on the inside leg, but you'll realize that a lot of top coaches aren't inside legs, or it doesn't matter. So the second CBC, I put my husband, he's on the top of one of my legs. So that has become slightly stronger, but they really honestly go off. But he's collected like a ton of carryover volume. So if you don't understand the compensation plan, I was an accountant, like I said, so I really understand the compensation plan. If you have any questions at the end about it, I'm happy to answer it. But that's the part, you got to put your husband as enroll, or whoever, a spouse, a mom, or someone, that's family, that's allowed to be a controlled account at the top of your organization as soon as possible. Because even though he was simply an Emerald coach, he was accruing like so much volume under him. So it took me a while, like I said, to get to my second CBC. So by the time that I opened my second CBC and I placed it, which is CBC is a coach business center, so you get to basically replicate yourself. I put that second CBC under my husband's weak leg, and basically I get to run all my sales through that. So if I sell a challenge pack to a new customer, I put it under my second CBC. I earn a commission. I earn a cycle bonus under him, and now I earn a cycle bonus under myself. So the income just really starts to take off there. And then you add coaches under there, and those people, it's just, trust me, you want to get a second CBC. Premier is a huge, huge honor as well. You get recognition at Summit, which hopefully there'll be some kind of version of Summit this year so I could get recognized. And I was really looking forward to that. And then going to New Leader Conference was amazing. I'm so glad that happened in February and I was able to go, but New Leader Conference is incredible. They treat you like a VIP. That you get to go to New Leader Conference when you're 1-star. So it was an incredible experience to get to go. And I got to meet a lot of the Diesel Nation coaches that were there, and we got to do live workouts with the super trainers and cocktail parties and just amazing trainings. And it was really awesome. And I just think also for me, it was like, I was like, when I was 2-star and one of my coaches became Diamond and I got my husband to Diamond, I was like, I feel like I have a leader. Like I feel more, it felt good. It just felt legit. So as I've talked about a lot already is these mindset shifts that I had. And I specifically pointed out 3. The first mindset shift was becoming a leader before you have a team to lead. So basically, like I said, don't let your past predict your future. And it's like the default that you're always going to go back to is like, you're going to look at your current circumstances and then think that those are going to predict your outcome. But you can't do that. You got to think past your current circumstances. You have to think about how you can get better. And if you want to be a leader, become a leader. It's, like I said, a decision. So one thing that leaders do is they show up for their team calls. They go to Super Saturday. They go to Summit. They mirror what they want their coaches to do. They hit Success Club every month, or at least Success Club 10 ideally, or more. And they're showing up. So even before you have anyone to lead, be a leader. And you can lead people within your team. So you guys are part of a team here. And so you can share what's working for you. Or if like they get put into a pod, being a leader is showing up and telling people what's working for you, what like invites you're using, those kind of things. Like getting that little, like you can kind of get experience coaching someone by coaching other people that are on your team. Because I know that one limiting belief for sure that holds me back and has held me back and has held my coaches back is that you are afraid to recruit anyone because you don't know what you're going to do when you get someone to recruit, right? You're going to be like, oh my God, I'm going to scare them away, or I'm not a good coach. They're better off with someone else. But first of all, you have to have confidence in yourself that you can lead them and that first of all, their success is not dependent on you. If they were successful, you wouldn't take credit for them being successful. So if they fail, you can't take credit for them failing. So know that if you bring on a coach, you have an amazing team, you have this amazing upline that will help them. We have Diesel Nation training. Like you don't need to worry about what's going to happen once you have a coach, but just know that you'll be able to figure it out with them. So even if you're brand new, don't be afraid to invite someone to be a coach and do it with you. Just say, hey, I just started this new thing and I'm really loving it. Like, would you be interested in doing it too? We could learn and do this together. That would be so awesome. I know my upline, Kelly, was recruited by her upline, Shannon, I think in like Shannon's 2nd month. And Kelly is a very successful coach that produces a large amount of volume and a huge team. And Shannon, if she hadn't invited Kelly to coach in her first 2 months because she was afraid of not being able to mentor her, then like she wouldn't have this huge downline. So don't be afraid of that. Another thing is I recommend doing your own coach sneak peeks or at least teaming up with someone else to do them, because I did this in the early days. We used to do like webinars. Now we do them different, but we used to have like a call on Zoom. So I guess kind of like how Christina does hers. But I found that if I volunteered to do it, then I would have to invite people to it because I didn't want to be embarrassed that no one showed up to listen to me talk. And I also didn't want to waste my time. So I feel like if you host your own coach sneak, it forces you sneak peeks, just like your challenge groups. It forces you to actually invite to it. If you're just joining on with someone else, then you're like, well, if no one shows up, like no big deal. But if you're doing your own, then you want someone there to watch you. So the next mindset shift is just becoming a business owner, becoming a CEO. And I think a lot of people kind of think that we're business builders, or we call ourselves business builders, but we're really hobby coaches at the end of the day. Hobby coaches are people who only work when it's convenient, only show up when it, when they feel like it, and they're a hobby. And I say to some of my coaches, it's okay if you're a hobby coach. It's just a hobby that means that you don't make money, right? Like a hobby you spend money on, a business you make money on. So if you want it to be a hobby and just something fun, that's fine. That's like plenty of coaches are hobby coaches, and I'm so thankful they're on my team and we're all in our community together. But if you do want to make something out of this, you do want to go, make this a good income, you got to set work hours and you got to schedule your months and your days. Like schedule that you're going to do a challenge group on the second. I do mine on the third Monday of the month, and then I make sure that I've hit at least Success Club 10 by the time my group starts. And then I have the whole second part of the month to do a coach info session, to mentor my coaches, to try to help them get to Success Club, trying to get them to hit Success Club earlier. It's like we were talking about on the call last night, everyone's scrambling at the end. But do the things on the tracker, not just the ones that are comfortable or easy. That means inviting, right? I think it's just so easy to breeze over. Oh, I didn't add any followers today, but I'm sure it'll all be good because I'm just, posting my Instagram stories. But like, do everything on it. And even if you can't do it all in one day, just make sure the next day you're doing it. But track your business, set goals. I track a lot of my business. I take a look at like, what am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? Am I on track? This is a huge one. And this is more once you start having a team, but you need to have systems in your team that allow your coaches to duplicate what you're doing. So you need to have a system so that when your person brings on a new coach, they know exactly what to do, like what email to send and what the next step is, so that they aren't scrambling, and that gives them the confidence to invite. And this last thing is just think critically. I think so many times we kind of like see what other people are doing and then we just kind of copy it, or we just go on autopilot and do the same thing every day. And I think one of my biggest strengths, honestly, is just critical thinking and thinking through like what is working on our team, what is not working, what is working in my challenge groups, and what is not working. For example, this year, I was just kind of noticing that I wasn't, it came out at New Leader Conference. Like someone said, are you excited to go into your challenge group in the morning? And I thought, I'm honestly not really that excited. And I don't feel like I've always had really interactive challenge groups because I just get these people like lifers who like are great at posting, and I've had great challenge groups, but I was like, they're kind of fizzling. And I feel like I haven't gotten anyone an incredible transformation in a while, especially since I do attract people who are already kind of fit runners. So I decided to go all in with Ultimate Portion Fix and 2B Mindset and create this group called Fearless, what is it called? It was something for nutrition, but I created a nutrition only group in February. Yeah, it was in February. And I hit Success Club 40 that month, which was the highest I've ever hit because of that challenge group. And it was like, I think I was at like 10, and then I announced the group and I sold like, I don't know, I got like 16 or 18 points in like a week from almost all existing customers. I just said, in order to be in the group, you have to buy Ultimate Portion Fix. And I showed them the value, and I explained that in this group, we were going to share our nutrition tracker every day. Like I wanted people to take a screenshot of it and actually get great results. And some of the people got really good results. Unfortunately, the whole quarantine thing went down like in the last week and a half, and people like, in myself included, fell off because we were just like trying to deal with like all that stress. But I'm like making sure I'm keeping in touch with those people from that group because I did like put a lot of work into that. So I'm now also hosting, I'm a runner. And so I'm now I've teamed up with a running coach and who's on my team. and we're doing a virtual race and like a running group. And I've never had so much response to a group that I've ever had, because instead of being like, okay, what's the whole team doing? You know, I did do a 10 rounds group, or what's everyone else doing? Think about like, what do people you work with want? What do they say to you when they fill out your form or when you're in conversation with them? What do they want and what do they need? And then serve them and think about it instead of, and the same goes with your posts, like what you're doing on social media. Like what do you get the most engagement in? What do people not engage at all with? Like, and I know like we're all going to have less engagement on call to action posts in general. So just know that it's true with me too. Like if I do a coaching post and I'm like, join, you know, even if it's heartfelt and I tell my story at the end, if I do a call to action to coaching, I get less likes in general. It's just the way that it is. So don't like, when it comes to those, don't completely analyze it, but other stuff. So the third mindset shift was, like I said, when I put on my calendar that I wanted to be an elite coach, just like imagine that you're the next you're the next rank before you achieve it. And like I said, I ended up at Premier last year. I did not end up at elite, but having that mindset shift helped me level up, and I started developing those diamonds who I know will be elite, that will get us to elite this year. So even though your goal might not happen on the timeline you want, which you most likely won't, at least you'll be making the efforts and it'll come, because in a lot of things, it's going to take more effort than you think to achieve what you want to achieve. And that goes for like, if you want to go to New Leader Conference next year and you know you need to hit the qualification, try to do it before the last 6 weeks of the month or the year, because it's just going to take longer than you think. And like I said, you must believe in the coaching opportunity wholeheartedly. And if you're having struggle with this, or you find that you are holding back and inviting people to coaching, then you have a limiting belief around coaching. So one thing that I just have my coaches do is just sit down and kind of journal all the things that have helped them in coaching, what they love about it, what they would miss if someone told them tomorrow that they couldn't be a coach. And then you remember those things when you're going to invite, and think about where you want to go with this. I read my vision. I use Moira Kusaba's Rise Up planner, and I read my vision almost every morning during my morning routine. And knowing where I have a couple of different versions of it, like sometimes I imagine like where I'm going to be at Summit, and sometimes I envision like where I'm going to be in 10 years and where my family's going to go with this. So it does help to have a couple of different visions that you're looking at. And then this one to you is just taking your rake advancement into your own hands, and don't wait for anyone else to do it for you. And I've heard a few calls that said this. It was like, you can, like, first of all, you have a spot, you could technically have 2 controlled accounts. So you could get yourself to 2-star without having anyone. Ideally, I think you should have at least 1 working coach, because that's how going to build you the income. You're not going to get the income as much if you're all just building yourself. But I got my husband to Diamond, and I made it a mission. I'm like, I'm going to get him to Diamond. There's no, like, this is happening. I started enrolling discount coaches under him. I put some working coaches under him to get an Emerald. And I said, you know, this is what I need to do. And I made out a plan, and I wasn't going to wait around anymore for anyone to get me that New Leader Conference. And also just fail forward. So I've definitely learned a lot when it comes to mentoring coaches. So like early last year, I brought on this coach who was like, I'm all in, I want to go to the top. Like, let's do this together. And we had we went out to coffee, we went out to lunch. I was like courting her. Like, I was like, she's going to, we're going to be together. Like, she's going to go, we're going to do this. And I was like, so excited. And it was the beginning of the year, and we had this, it wasn't a diamond push group, but it was like some kind of advanced coaching group. And, she had literally just started that day, and I threw her into my team page, the Uplines team page, this crazy group. I sent her the new coach training, and she was like, what is going on? And she quit. And she returned the challenge back. And I was like, 2 people have ever returned a challenge back. And it was this girl. So it's okay if you fail. And that girl wasn't meant to be, right? If it's the right person, she would have stuck around. So it was really hard at the time, especially when I was at SC -2 when she returned the challenge back. But you learn from it. And I learned from that. I am extremely cautious with my new coaches now. I have a very simple system, and it is I don't want them to have baby steps in the beginning because of that and that happening. And the last thing is just investing in some kind of in personal development and coaching. And so for me, that was Bob Heilig's Legacy Leader program or leadership program, which they actually have. He has it open for free through the end of the month. And I think some people in Diesel Nation are doing it too. I'm now in the next level leadership course that he has. But last year when I did this is how I created my systems. And Bob Heilig in particular works really on the mental side. And I think that between that fearless recruiting and Bob Heilig's trainings and podcast and going into his courses and setting up the systems and then also just working on my mindset, I really think that was a huge part of the change that I had over this last year. I definitely recommend him. He's awesome. But I think just in general, like I'm always listening to personal development. Like I said, I have a morning routine and then I listen runs are my favorite time to listen to podcasts because I just really get pumped up. But I will listen to it when I'm getting ready in the morning. I'm just honestly just listening to things all the time. And I discovered that for me, I have to listen to personal development books. I can't read them because I never finish them if I try to read them. So listening to books, but I think that like finding someone, like for a while, I was really into this woman named Kayla Kraft, who's called the Mommy Millionaire. I was really into listening to all of her podcasts. And then I was really into Melanie Mitro's podcast. And then I was really into Bob Heilig's podcasts. And it's just like finding that person that's like you relate to, that's your sounding board. And there's so many out there, but like someone to give you the guidance. And Beachbody does a great job, I think, of sharing so many resources and so many opinions. But what I really like about Bob is that he has one way. And this is the way I am with everything with parenting. Like I read the one potty training book and I'm going to do that potty training book and that's going to be what I do. And like, that's how I feel with Bob's stuff is like, I chose him as my mentor and like, I'm going to do what he says. So I listen to all the other trainings, but I'm always thinking like, does this going to work for me? And is this the way that I want to do it? So the last thing I was just making some notes on the things like when I was in that push to 2-star, one thing is like, if you're going for diamond right now, or you're going for any rank advancement, it's better to go fast. Like even emerald, like do it today. It's better to go fast than go slow. And this is from Christina Delgado telling me this. But I've also discovered that it's better to go fast because people drop rank, you guys, like discount. Like if you go the method I did with my husband of like signing up people as discount coaches from the get-go with a challenge pack. And, I would tell them it's a priority membership and all that. Like people aren't going to order every month. They're going to drop off. So it's like, if you really want to go for a rank, it's better to get into the habit of just enrolling as many people as you can. And then like getting it there. And then, okay, now I can add a few more to keep get a cushion. But if you slowly add one coach and then, you slowly add another one, they're just going to drop off and you're going to be the exact same spot. So just like make that goal. And I think it's a great opportunity right now with the, this virtual retreat. Like make the goal to qualify for the virtual retreat. Like imagine yourself at the virtual retreat. I don't know if there's something else you need to like bribe yourself with to get you to be excited about the virtual retreat. Like there's just not as many things to be excited about right now. You're going to go online shopping before and get yourself a cool outfit for the virtual retreat or whatever it is. Then do it. But like, I think for me, having deadlines really helps. So like I said, I was always just saying like, I have to at least get a new leader conference. It's a non-negotiable. And then I worked really close with that potential diamond. I identified like which leg I needed once I realized I was working closely with all of the girls who said they wanted diamond. But then when I realized like, okay, this leg is the one I need. This is the girl who's showing me she needs it, that she wants it. And I like did a lot of one-on-one with her. I was looking in her back office and being like, okay, who's dropping? And we were on calls and working well together. And I was giving her that belief. But then I did also set her free. So I told her to go into she went into Bob's training. She dropped, because she did drop diamond after the end of the year, but then she went into Bob's legacy leadership training and now she has regained diamond and she's like on fire. And so it was like getting her there gave her the belief. And then when she really dove into it and kind of like got back there on her own. So my last note is just that growing a team is really worth it. So this was last year at Summit. I had 4 of my personally sponsored coaches there. And then this year I was supposed to have like 17 people there. So that was a bummer when it was canceled, but obviously we know that was for the best. But it's just really awesome. And it's like I said, it's not, you don't just wake up one day and you're talking on people's team calls. It's like this whole process, and you just keep growing and learning, and it really is awesome and worth it. I've never ever felt like, I mean, I was an accountant, like you can imagine, it's not the most exciting career. And it's actually my longest standing job, or not job, but the longest time I've ever done anything. I've quit every job around 3 years because I get so bored. And coaching just keeps me entertained and excited, and I can do it from home. And now I do make a full-time income on part-time hours, which is this like thing that I was always on my vision. And but now I want to, like, my next goal is, I'm just starting to share this, is I want to be able to retire, like my husband not have to work. And at the end of the day, I want my girls to have me around, and to know that I can be there for, not bath time right now. I can hear them screaming, but just let them know that they can do what they want. They don't have to do the traditional thing. And I certainly did not see myself being here, but it's really just awesome, and I love it.
That was so good. So many good nuggets. I saw lots of notes being taken. So I'm excited to see what the girls take from this. I just think your story is so relatable. There were so many pieces where early on in my business, like, I found myself, or conversations that I've been having with these girls on this call of where they're at. So, and we have a lot of runners. A couple of them dropped off, but I know that they were like, that's totally me. So does anyone have any questions? We have just a couple minutes for questions. If anyone has anything for Nicole, you're welcome to unmute yourself.
I just have a question, Nicole. What does a typical work schedule look like for you with the kids at home? I know it's different with the SIP shelter in place, but normally, how do you fit it?
So normally, well, my daughter's in school 2 full days, but then I have the twins the other days. And now I have a nanny on Mondays for the full day. But I'm realizing now that I'm in shelter in place and we don't have any help, that on the days when I have childcare, I'm like way less efficient, way less productive. So Monday's like partially for my sanity. And then my mom does come 1 day a week to help. But otherwise I work during nap time. I work in the morning, and then I work at night. And my goal is to not work as much at night, but I do work at night most nights. So, and I just recently, that part-time job that I mentioned, I finally last month stopped doing that job. So I have been doing another job on top of this part-time.
Thank you.
Yeah, for me, my success partner, she has 3 kids and she doesn't have any help, but I was like, I love my kids, but I don't want to be home 100%. So I need a break. So like the help is for my sanity.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Bae.
Do you send like half and half or most of your invites to challenge groups or to the actual coaching side? Because I'm finding that I'm actually not inviting much to coaching, and I just invite them to the challenge group first and then talk to them about coaching afterwards. But I'm wondering if I should be alternating.
Yeah, someone was asking about invite numbers before the call last night. So I actually looked it up because like last summer I started tracking my invites, how many I do. I've always tracked my coaching invites because I've been curious. And I do around average of 30 challenge group invites a week and 15 coaching invites a week. And it's funny because I also realized that like probably 2/3 of my coaches are from challenge groups and 1/3 is from like not challenge group. It's from like putting the opportunity out there and having people come to me, which is like exactly what my inviting ratio is. So yeah.
Thanks.
Mindy just asked, where are you finding new people?
So I have grown a really great following on Instagram. So I am almost, I still get business from my blog, and I also use Pinterest with my blog, because I do a lot of blog posts on running and like hybrid plans. So I actually attract quite a few people that already have Beachbody like on demand. They don't have a coach, and they're just like, I'm a runner too, and I want to switch to you. Most of the time those people don't buy anything at first from me, but then a lot of times they will end up buying something later, or they'll become a coach later. And then on Instagram, I'm really heavy on running. Like I said, when I first started, I was sharing running online. So I probably had like 1,000 Instagram followers when I started. And now I've grown to like 12.5 thousand followers, but not that they're all super engaged. But I think one of the things that I do really well is I'm really like I do a lot of real talk with like my being a twin mom and being home with my kids. I'm not like, I admit I'm not perfect. I hate cleaning. I'm like a hot mess sometimes, and that's not a hot mess, but you know what I mean? Like I don't have it all together on the mom front. And then I add value with running. I share like my running journey. So I attract a lot of runners and twin moms, basically. I just really strong niche. So in terms of like even those invites that I mentioned, like I can't, if someone reaches out to me and then I like send them information, I count that as an invite. So I do have a lot of people that reach out to me. But I do a lot of invites too.
For your Instagram following, what did you use a third-party tool to grow, or was that organic?
I didn't. I grew to like 5,000 by myself, and then I hired Jumper Media back when everyone was hiring those people, and that actually grew me a ton. I was growing like 1,200 a month with Jumper. But they're not always the best followers, but they're decent, because I would go, run it with the running niche. Basically, in order they told to get a good follow back ratio, the niche is what you need. So if people look at you follow them and you interact with them in order to get them to look at your account, and they're only going to follow you if you connect with you in some way, right? So because I'm a runner and I have affiliations with for a long time, I was really going after like trying to find other people who are affiliated with this running club called Wazelle. And so I had Wazelle on my profile. I would talk about running, and then I would go follow Wazelle runners, and then they would go back to my thing and follow. So that's how I grew a lot to the 5,000 was doing that. And then I used Jumper to get to 10,000. And then I've grown again back to the method again of going to accounts that I think would be following me, leaving a comment, following them. I've gone through different methods where sometimes I'll just follow a bunch of people, but then I hate unfollowing, so I stopped doing that.
Awesome. Well, this was incredibly insightful. I definitely think that it'll be a call that I know I listen to again and just go back and take notes. And so many of our team obviously couldn't be on, so I can't wait to share with them. But guys, if you have any more questions, feel free to send them to me, and I'll make sure to get them to Nicole. If they want to follow you on Instagram, how can they find you? How can they connect?
My name is Fitness Fatale.
Awesome. Perfect. Well, this was amazing, and I so appreciate you. Fingers crossed, bath time is done and the kids are done, so you can be done. Because you are talking to the hot mess queen. So there's no shame in that game. All right, team, love you guys. Remember that this being themes are everyday energized videos, can't think. And for those of you guys that know, Jen is her birthday, so energized to her, because that's totally up her alley. And one last thing I just wanted to add is because people are in quarantine and they're probably eating all the snacks and going off, just like Nicole was saying that she had opened up a nutrition group, I was thinking that now would be a time to really dig into ultimate to be mindset, ultimate reset, as well as 3-day refresh, and really give people some options because nobody wants to feel like crap. It's starting to get and we have a solution, right? People have a decision. They can come out of this quarantine feeling good, or they can feel like crap. And it's up to you to go out and help them. So drink your water. If you need anything,
You're welcome.